Hey, in this video I'll be talking about the massive manga of Black Clover. But warning, I watched the anime fully, so until chapter 270, I'll be talking about what I saw in the anime. After 270, I'll be talking about the manga. So without further ado, let's get started. I want to mention some of the strengths of Black Clover first. I really like the characters in this anime. Like in the start, they all seem very bland and uninteresting. But with time, as you get to know their character, they start to grow on you with their personalities. For example, I didn't really like Magna at the start, but with time, I started to like him more and more. He isn't among my favorite characters in the series, but he's a good character. Basically, a lot of characters in the series get a lot of character growth. Whether that's Noelle, when you look at her from the start, she was just an arrogant nobody. But with time, she turned into someone respectable and someone who can acknowledge their own feelings. And growing with power too, of course. Getting to know her brother's side of the story and forgiving him, that is what I call character growth. Another thing I want to mention is the surprisingly very good world build. Like since the beginning, we saw the map of Black Clover's world, and unlike Naruto, we actually get to explore and see the world from the main character's point of view. Like we were in the Heart Kingdom, so Asta and some of the side cast get to train, the Spade Kingdom and the Spade Kingdom radar figures, and the Secret Continent, which I don't think was named, in which Asta trained to regain his powers, and of course the Clover Kingdom, but I don't think I have to mention that. But I just realized that we actually haven't been in the Diamond Kingdom. Like we know Mars was born there, and we know that Luck and some other Black Bulls members went to the border once, and Luck for the first time didn't want to fight someone. But still, 3 out of 4 kingdoms were explored with an additional continent, which we didn't even know existed. And this, I really like personally. The fast pacing. 3 years back or something, I was watching Black Clover, and I was just watching 12 episodes daily. Yes, I know it's sad, you don't have to tell me, but I loved it so much. There was always something happening, and at the end of every arc, there would be like this chill episode in which the characters would do whatever and have fun. A comedy / slice of life episode, you could say. And for the manga, the art style is just incredible. It's one of the best art styles I've seen in manga overall. Of course, it isn't always fantastic, but it's more like a lot better than average usually. But sometimes, it gets just incredible. Jaw-dropping, you could even say. Now an overall good thing, but made out to be bad on the internet, is the cliched traits. A big title they want to achieve, a rivalry, the underdog trope, and other tropes. I see a lot of Naruto fans hating on Black Clover because it copies these traits from Naruto, when in reality, they're just very common tropes that most, if not all manga use to some degree. For example, Bakuman uses the rivalry trope with the Ashigori duo and Eiji Nizuma, One Piece with the Pirate King, and the underdog trope with Bleach. It's all just very common, but that doesn't make a manga bad. In fact, a lot of people would say it gives a sense of familiarity, making the manga more popular and open to more people. But I do definitely have some bad things to say about Black Clover. Firstly, in the anime this isn't as relevant. In the manga, the storytelling was actually surprisingly bad. I was even warned beforehand by a friend of mine that the anime cleans up the manga very much, and Tabata isn't a very good story writer. But I just told him, hey, what's the worst that can happen? I was very unprepared. The straight up bullshit ass grabs were insane. The first example that comes to mind is Yuno's grimoire. That literally came out of nowhere. Not the slightest foreshadowing for them. Tabata just looked at the situation and thought, this is bad. I should do something about it. And just wrote in Yuno's second grimoire. That makes zero sense. I'm still not happy about that. And now about a different thing. Even though I said the cliche tropes aren't bad, there's some that I think are either overused in the manga or I just plainly don't like. For example, the very loud / eccentric protagonist trope. I don't like that trope overall. But Black Clover definitely doesn't do it well. From the manga I've read and anime I've watched, there's only one anime / manga that I think does that trait well, which is Fairy Tail with Natsu. I don't think I like any other protagonists from that trope. Now, I will go over the arcs in Black Clover and tell you my thoughts. I'll be talking up to the anime and after that, the manga. Starting with the introduction arc and Magic Knight's entrance arcs. This is the first arc in Black Clover, and the arc where Asta is the loudest, which I also noticed when first watching it. And although I did not like it, I didn't mind it as much as other people seem to. The first episode was a banger, man. I loved the fight in the first episode, and the arc overall was good. Nothing much to complain about apart from Seka being written in the story. That was a mistake. And also, an Anphanim, the best character in the series, shows up. Yami. He's without a doubt the best character in Black Clover. Overall, good arcs. A solid intro. The only downsides are that this is Asta at his loudest and Seke's introduction. 7 out of 10. Moving on to the dungeon exploration arc. In this arc, there is a fight that happens which made Black Clover my favorite series in all of anime for a solid 3 years. I've only been watching anime for like 4 years. It was the Mars vs. Asta fight, which I just loved so much. Looking at all of the fights now, it definitely isn't a among my favorites, but it is still a damn good fight. Here is the first Aspel of the series, which is the magic absorption sword that also releases the magic. I thought back then, oh my god, that's so cool, while at the back of my head wondering how this even makes a little sense. But overall, it's a very good arc. 9 out of 10. Next is the Royal Capital Assault arc, which introduced a lot of sidecast and the main antagonist group for a good part of the series. Now, while I overall didn't nearly like this arc as much as the last one, it had one standout fight for me personally, which just gave me insane chills, man. It was Asta versus these random royals. I have no idea why, but I love this fight so much. I would rewatch it like tens of times over the years. But apart from that, there isn't much to talk about. Yet we meet the Eye of the Midnight Sun, which is important overall, but as of now, we haven't exactly learned like anything about it. 8 out of 10. Next is the Eye of the Midnight Sun encounter arc. This arc was really just not important in my eyes. Sure, we got to see Yami's powers, which was cool, and also Ki, but that's really it. Sure, Asta somehow gets a girl to like him. It should have been me. And also this ice dude. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about him. This really is a minor-ish arc. 7 out of 10. Next, however, is an arc I absolutely love. It's the Seabed Temple arc. Now, before I say anything else, this is my favorite arc. You can have your Spade Kingdom Raid arc and Elf Reincarnation arcs or whatever, but this arc is mine. I'm not going to ramble too long about the remaining arcs either moving forward, because this video is going to get really long if I keep rambling on and on like I did with the first arc. But basically, this arc had such an interesting premise, and the sun element of Veto made it so much better. The arc before Veto was just good, but after that, it was insane. Especially the character growth we see from Magna and Locke. Absolute cinema, I tell you. The Veto fight was insane, but what I really like about this arc, which I think goes unmentioned a lot, is the repercussions. Like, Asta has real repercussions to deal with after that. This time, there isn't just some bad writing where he just sleeps it off. No, he actually has to deal with the consequences. I love this arc. 11 out of 10. Next is the Witch's Forest arc. This isn't nearly as good as the previous arc, but Asta gets a new form, which actually makes sense. In this arc, Asta grows a lot as a character as well, so that's always good. I like the realism and the eldest witch or whatever her name is. She currently has control over Asta, and she did as she asked. She healed him, and whatever happened next was their fault, I suppose you could say. To quickly wrap this arc up, this arc was just alright. At times, the animation went insanely hard. 7 out of 10. Royal Knights arc. Now, I really like this arc, especially one episode in particular, which was the Asta versus Langris fight. Seeing Langris get his ass beat was so cool. I hate Langris, even after he became slightly better later on. In this arc, we see Licht awaken, which was also an insane fight. Seeing Asta and Yuno lose was actually a big surprise, as normally, not just in shonen, the author will do anything to make the main character win. So seeing Asta actually lose was a real shock. 9 out of 10 arc. Moving on to most people's favorite arc, the Elf Reincarnation. Now, this probably would have been my favorite arc too, if I wasn't spoiled that there was a devil in this arc. This arc had a lot of important fights, but the most important was definitely the final struggle against Sagre. Those few episodes leading up to his defeat were fantastic. 10 out of 10 arc. Now, it's a short arc. The Heart Kingdom joint struggle and training arcs. In these arcs, there's an attack from the Spade Kingdom, and before that, there's a time skip. If I'm not mistaken, it's the only time skip in the series. Seeing their progress, I was thinking, those guys in the Spade Kingdom stand no chance. But then, the attack happens, and it shattered all my expectations. It was an absolute slaughter, apart from Dante actually losing. Speaking of that fight had straight up the best animation in the series. Absolute cinema. I have a theory of why that is. Pretty much, it's because it was confirmed internally that the series was being stopped. So the animators that were originally working like 10 to 20 episodes ahead of time were just reassigned to the current episodes, making them a lot better in quality, as there were more staff working on them. But about the arc, we get new antagonists which are very strong, and it sets up the next arc fantastically. 9 out of 10 arc. Also, I didn't like Asta's new look. And now, the Spade Kingdom Raid arc. This arc starts with a little training mini arc, which was actually quite enjoyable. But after this arc, it's manga only. So if you're still an anime only up to now, I suggest you click off. Otherwise, you will definitely be spoiled. 3, 2, 1. Alright, now, honestly, I was actually quite disappointed in this arc because of almost only the bad writing. As I mentioned earlier in this video, the writing was very poor, which surprised me a lot because the art and fights were still both fantastic. The main and best fight was definitely the fight against one of the 3 rulers of the underworld. Lucifero. That was just insane. The art and concepts used in that fight were just incredible. Without going much into detail, Magna versus Dante was surprisingly very enjoyable, and Noel versus Vanica wasn't as good as I expected them to be honest. That doesn't mean it was bad though. 9 out of 10 arc. Was very disappointed in the bullshit ass grab in the middle of the arc. And finally, we arrive upon the final arc of Black Clover. Now, to be honest, reading chapter to chapter with real-time releases ruins the hype for the series. While I still like the chapters, I forget almost all that happened in the previous chapters. It's hard to grab onto a solid event that has happened in this arc so far. Like, binging the series up to this arc was good and very easy to remember because I was reading and the events unfolded in my eyes very logically, and I could make sense of everything that happened quite fast. But with Tabata releasing 2 chapters every 3 months, it's hard to remember anything. Alright, to be honest, I've been trying to explain this for the past like 10 minutes and I have no idea how to explain what I'm trying to grasp at here. So I hope you understand what I mean, so let's just leave it at that. So, the only real fight I remember from this arc is the Mereoleona fight, which is actually really enjoyable. But aside from that, and seeing as this arc is not done yet, 7 out of 10 arc. I don't blame Tabata one bit for taking this schedule. In fact, I'm happy for him. But Black Clover fans are really in the mud overall. No anime, no chapter for 3 months at a time. I suppose a somewhat new game is alright news, but that's not even new news anymore. I haven't heard anything about the game in months now. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to like and subscribe as I post every single Monday, without exception. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!